Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Katybrook LLC channel with Caroline Ye, and this is my week 3 update. So, week 3 is about starting the search, contacting brokers, and setting up automated searches. So, since a lot of the people I talk to don't really understand this process of buying a business, what I often like to compare it to is buying a house, which many people are familiar with. And just like buying a house, there are brokers who help prepare a business for sale and they provide guidance and help to sellers. And these brokers have listings, which they either publish on their own website or other websites that help reach buyers. When you're searching for businesses that are working with a broker, this is what's called an on market deal. This is in contrast to off market deals, where you can privately approach a business, work with the owner, and try to arrange for the transaction privately. The reason why I started with an on market search is because it's more streamlined and it's less work. So, if the seller's already working with a broker, then they've put some work into it and they are in the right mindset and are more motivated to sell. For off market deals, you might get a better price, but the seller is not necessarily in the mindset to sell. And what this will do is cause a lot more work on the buyer's part. It is also the work of the buyer to get that seller ready to sell in terms of getting paperwork, financials, and all the legal work done. So I'm not saying that I might not go this route eventually, but what I'm saying is that I'm going to start with the on market search. And maybe if I don't find any prospects, I will go the off market route. So, if you watch my week 1 update, you'll know that I did not immediately start in and start looking for listings on websites. What I decided to do was I started to reach out to brokers first. And the reason why I did this is because I read a book called Buy Then Build. The author of Buy Then Build made an argument that made a lot of sense to me. Basically, the best listings don't go immediately to a listing website like bizbuysell.com. It'll first go to preferred buyers. Again, a lot like selling a home. Now, if that group of preferred buyers and investors pass on a business, then the broker will turn to listing service. This made a lot of sense to me. So rather than looking at listings, what I decided to do was reach out to brokers first. And I did that by using BizBuySell's broker feature. I searched by state, so in my case, Nevada and Arizona, and I contacted every single relevant broker in those states. Now, this took a really long time. It basically took me a week. After reaching out to a few dozen brokers via BizBuySell, I started getting some replies from brokers, and I've been keeping track of everything in a spreadsheet. But it's not a very high response rate, it's more like 5 to 10%. One reason why is brokers get a lot of inbound inquiries, and a lot of times they don't reply because they want to ensure the people that are requesting information are legit. So after the first few dozen that I emailed, low response rate, I started emailing more brokers, which I found by using various websites. One website was IBBA, the other website was AZBBA, and these are all trade organizations. So there is, of course, a lot of overlap in these websites, but I was able to find some additional brokers to contact. I also started actually looking at listings. So the two websites I started my searches with were bizbuysell.com and BizQuest. And basically, I looked at all listings in Arizona and the metro Las Vegas areas. In order to reach out to the brokers, I also set up Google templates in my Gmail, but I was still manually setting out emails, and that takes a very long time. So, I've mentioned two websites that I use to search for businesses for sale, but this is one of the questions I get the most frequently, and that is, where do you find businesses to buy? So, as I mentioned, the most popular website is a website called bizbuysell.com. It's really, really easy to use. You just enter your search parameters, and the site returns listings that match the criteria you set up. You can also set up automatic weekly updates or daily updates for new listings that meet your criteria. So I set up the searches for that, and I also set up searches on another website called BizQuest. There is a lot of overlap in these listings, but the site setup is free, so I've just added my name to a bunch of these sites so I can get these inbound listings. So when I started the search, I started with certain parameters and certain ideas of the businesses that I want to purchase. I talked about this in week two's update about how I made the decisions of the profile of business that I want to buy. But as I ran searches, I looked at listing, I really started altering some of these parameters. For example, one of the things that I was interested in was home healthcare services for seniors. But it turns out that this particular area of the industry is heavily dominated by major national franchises. So I kind of kicked those out of the search because I wasn't particularly interested in buying a franchise. I wanted to buy an independently owned business. So that's where I started sort of altering my search parameters. I think that's something that's pretty normal within the search process is while you're looking at listings, while you're talking to buyers and brokers and sellers, you're learning things about the businesses that you potentially want to buy. And you might figure out, you know what, this isn't what I thought it'd be. I need to alter my parameters and look for another type of business that better suits the profile that I'm looking for. I know that as I've gone through this process, I have altered my parameters a whole lot. And as the weeks go on, I bet that you're going to see that the original idea I started with is going to change. So that's it for this week's updates. Again, if you would like to reach out to me, please put your comments in the comments section below, or you can always find me by reaching out to me on my website, www.katybrookllc.com. I look forward to seeing you for my week 4 update. Thanks, everybody.